The Supreme Court is now blocking the CDC's moratorium on evictions during the pandemic. A group of landlords challenged the rule, arguing the CDC did not have the authority to impose a restriction on its own. It's a defeat for the Biden administration, which continued to push for that moratorium despite the court signaling that it was not legal. The current moratorium is set to expire early in October. NBC News Justice correspondent Pete Williams joins us now. Pete, can you walk us through the court's reasoning on this, on striking down the moratorium?
It amounts to just this. They say the CDC doesn't have the authority to do this, that only Congress can order something like this. Let me quote from a little bit of the ruling. They say it would be one thing if Congress had specifically authorized the action the CDC has taken, but that's not happened. Instead, the CDC has imposed a nationwide moratorium on evictions, relying on a decades-old statute that authorizes it to implement measures like fumigation and pest extermination. It strains credulity to believe that this statute grants the CDC the sweeping authority that it asserts. So what the court says here is the CDC is relying on a statute that goes back to the 1940s that says it can respond to specific outbreaks of the disease and impose things like quarantines or limit the transmission from that place somewhere else. That's dealing with the actual outbreak of the disease. This is so removed from that, they say, because these are renters on the theory that if they move in with someone else, they might get the disease, and that's a whole different thing. And for that reason, the Supreme Court says the CDC just can't do this.
So, Pete, what could happen from here? I know the White House is pushing other entities to try to do something, to enact some eviction moratoriums, despite the court's ruling here. Who could make that happen?
Well, the states or the localities. The federal government clearly can't do this on its own. Only Congress can. And, of course, that's the problem that got us into this fix. After the last moratorium expired, Congress decided not to do something. So the Biden administration gambled that maybe they could try again, despite the Supreme Court signaling back in June that this wouldn't fly. So this is a story with no surprise ending here. A few states still have a moratorium. I think six or nine states still have state moratoriums, and there are some local ones. And the White House spokeswoman Jen Psaki yesterday said that she's calling on local communities to do all they can, cities, states, local courts, landlords, cabinet agencies, to urgently act to prevent evictions. But that's really all the federal government can do now, is just sort of jawbone local authorities to do this.